So at this point, I believe that the majority of black women who say things like this, they are aware that they're just pushing an agenda, that they're just doing it to avoid holding themselves accountable for why they're still single. Now, when I do these videos, I like for the video that I'm responding to be a recent video. This one was uploaded about a year ago, but I'm going to still respond to it because look at the views it got. Over 500,000 views right now. Okay, so anything that's put out there that gets a lot of ears, I'm going to be all over it. Now, most of you recognize this YouTuber. Listen to this.
That I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I am so effing tired of the amount of emotional labor that comes with dating black men. I am so tired of the lack of commitment, the lack of support, the lack of encouragement, the lack of money. I don't.
Huh? Already, I gotta stop. The lack of money? Already, you're pushing an agenda. I mean, the average black man is not rich, but the average black man got more money than the average black woman. Unless, of course, you're dealing with a broke, dusty Pookie. Who are you out here dating, ma'am? The lack of money. That sounds like a problem that you have. There are plenty of black men who make money. But let's continue.
Of support, the lack of encouragement.
Encouragement? Is that a legit complaint? So black men don't encourage women? What type of nonsense is this? Let's continue.
The lack of money. I don't know what to do from this point on, but I can tell you one thing. My interest in dating another black man is 1% at this point. They want us to be ride or dies until they get their shit together.
Oh, now we get more information about the type of guys you're dealing with, right? Thanks for that information. Ride or die until they get their shit together, you're dealing with a bum. Sound like you're dealing with a drug dealer and you're trying to talk him into going to college. Right? Talk him into getting that forklift position somewhere. What are you talking about? Ride or die until they get their shit together. In other words, you got your life together, but he don't. So what you talking to him for? Oh, because he gives you that feeling inside. The same feeling you get when you watching these rap videos. Huh? He's dressed up just like the rappers you look at. Just like a little kid. They're just like kids, dude. They sit up and watch these rap videos like kids sit up and watch cartoons. Ooh, wee. Look at the Pookie. Look at the gold grill. Ooh, I want me one of them. And then they go out chasing these jokers. Y'all allow the television to create your desires. But you need to be aware. You all need to be aware of when you're aware. You need to be honest. When y'all dating bums. Unemployed bums. And don't try to make those black men the face of black men. Remember, black women on average get impregnated by around 19-20% of black males in general. So you're talking about a small demographic.
Us to be ride or dies until they get their shit together, and then they don't want to support us in return. They don't want to commit to us. They
don't want to commit to you? You, the women who file for divorce some 80% of the time, we don't want to commit to you. You, who leave the relationships, who end relationships some 80-90% of the time. What are you talking about? And I'm saying relationships. See, the marriages can be proven. That's already established. Black women file for divorce even more on average than white women. But black women file for divorce more than any other demographic. So I'm eager to hear this argument about commitment. What are you talking about?
They don't want to marry. They don't want to support us in return. They don't want to commit to us. They don't want to marry us, but
don't want to marry you. Well, if they haven't proposed, you ever think there may be a reason why? You notice how they say these types of things and they never consider that something's wrong with them. That maybe he hasn't proposed to you because of a flaw that you have. No, they want to make it seem like he hasn't proposed to you because something's wrong with him. Okay, y'all need to stop this. The whole world is on to y'all little antics.
But then they want all the benefits of being a husband without actually proposing to us.
Now don't try to talk as if y'all want to be married. Y'all don't want to be married like that. Most of you don't want to be married, so don't even start with that. That's why you're always filing for a divorce with the quickness.
Need someone who's intentional in every single aspect.
Okay, so she had a lot to say, a lot to unpack there.
No, there was not a lot to unpack. Short bus. Right? Shout out to AC for that short bus. Y'all giggling like she just was preaching. Yeah, sat up there and spewed out a bunch of brainless babble just then. But of course, that sounds impressive to the sisterhood. Now listen to this garbage.
She talked about a lack of emotional support, a lack of commitment.
How you gonna prove that? How you gonna prove all that nonsense? See, black men, we don't do that. When we talk about why we're not checking for black women, we go over things that can be proven. That's the difference between us and y'all. Because y'all make up stuff. That's what it is. You're just lying.
Lack of money, and she is specifically attributing this to black men. First and foremost, what I want to say is that you can find men like this of any race. Fact. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. We can talk about...
Yeah. She wants to say that up front so that she can then go on to paint these types of black men as all black men. You can find these types of men in any race, but it just so happens that 95% of black men are this way. Get out of here. You can see that coming. I knew she was about to take it there the first time I heard this.
which race you're more likely to find this style of man in dating, but I do just want to say you will find men like this across the spectrum of skin color, of race, of nationality, of all these different things. I expected this video to go viral for a very different reason than it did. I was expecting to hop into the comments and see a bunch of women calling her racist, men being angry about what she's saying.
This is emotion. I'm mad.
The social justice activist coming after this woman for posting this video, but you actually find the exact opposite. I think the most prevalent comment that you'll see in this comment section is black women absolutely applauding what is being.
There wasn't no surprise about that. Anybody could have predicted that the comment section would be full of black women agreeing with the stuff she said, because it didn't make no sense. A bunch of babble. It's a bunch of non-provable gibberish that takes accountability off of them. Of course they're going to agree with it. But because she's using this for content, she got to make it seem, oh, unbelievable. Black women agree with her. I expected people to call her racist. What are you talking about? Lord, it's like we dealing with a bunch of kids here.
Said in this video. One says a lack of emotional availability, and it has 25,000.
What is that supposed to mean anyway? I'm not available emotionally? Huh? We're men. Stop looking for us to be as emotional as y'all. That's what they do. In case y'all haven't noticed, I'm pretty sure all the fellas, you noticed that. That's what they do. They look and try to get men to be exactly just as emotional as women. We're not, we never will be. You want a drag queen, go look for that. Exactly. That is so annoying how they expect men to act like women, to act just like them. Just shows y'all don't know men. Let's continue.
Likes. One says, woo, I love when people say the quiet parts out loud. They suck the energy out of us and then complain when we beg for them to meet our needs.
Suck the energy out of you? More gibberish that don't make no sense, that you just can't explain. You see, people correcting your nonsense, that's what you call sucking the life and energy out of you. When people point out the fact you just said something didn't make no sense, that you just up here babbling, which is what y'all doing.
It's struggle love. I'm done with struggle love associated with dating them. It's like they don't like us no more.
Struggle love. She said, I'm done with struggle love associated with dating them. It's like they don't like us no more. That don't even make sense. It makes no sense. That lady didn't even explain a scenario or incident. She just said a few things. Men are exhausting. Oh, black men are giving me a headache. And they stand up in a round of applause to that nonsense. That is ignorant.
And that has 14,000 likes. A lot of women echoing this sentiment, which I find to be really interesting, especially within a racial category where, in my own experience, it's typically been said that you need to date within your race and that you should find another black person to go proceed into marriage with, to create a family with.
No, it has not been said. Y'all, they kill me saying this. That ain't no popular saying in black America, especially not under single black women. Y'all don't be out here preaching no pro-black nothing. What are you talking about? We need to end this right now, because I've been hearing this for years and I'm sick of it. Talking like y'all been governing pro-black households, teaching your sons and daughters to be pro-black. Go get you a black woman, a black. Y'all ain't never been like that. What is you talking about? The only pro-black narratives that's come out of black America has come from black men. See, this is a big problem when we dealing with them. They are perpetual liars. Just like the demons that installed the demons into them. They just cannot stop lying. Everything is based on deception and lies.
As to keep blackness sort of insular and stay within your race as far as dating pertains. And women, I guess, are no longer doing that. I do want to say there's an element of taking accountability for your
They've never done that.
actions. You have to have discernment when it comes to the people that you're dating. And if you're meeting a man who doesn't want commitment, has a lack of accountability, a lack of money, a lack of
Lack of accountability. You see what I'm saying? They just make stuff up. And they know full well they can't substantiate any of these things that they're saying. Y'all are the face of lacking accountability. What are you talking about? Y'all have literally put your faces in the dictionary next to a lack of accountability. But suddenly, when they want, just like that, I'm white and I say so. Oh, I'm a black woman and I say so. It's black men who are not accountable, don't hold themselves. Get out of here. Boy, y'all just delusional and dizzy.
responsibility.
It's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
You have to be able to discern that and leave. So a lot of it is about the choices that you are making yourself. But is there backing to what she's saying? Are you more likely to find this within black men when compared to other races? There are some people who are backing this up and saying that this is true. Now, I don't know the background of this man, but he...
How you supposed to prove this? That some other group of men is more emotionally available. All this emotional stuff she talking about. Just straight goofy. No wonder it got so many views. It resonated with black women.
He did make a video about your odds of finding a black man that meets your standards in dating, if that is solely what you're looking for.
So I wanted to break it down to...
Now, listen to who they're listening to. You heard what she just said? She said, this is her evidence, y'all. I don't want nobody to miss this. Listen.
Video about your odds of finding a black background of this man, but he did make a video and saying that this is true. Now, I don't know the background of this man, but he did make a video about your odds of finding a black man that meets your standards in dating, if that is solely what you're looking for.
So I wanted to break it down to let you know how difficult you are making your love life be just by focusing on black men. So, for every 100 men, 13% of...
So you already see this guy is suspected of being from the rainbow community. His voice is full of rainbows. He's straight Skittles for a voice box. That's who they listening to, y'all. These are the minds, the brain. These are the black men that they're following. The fruity ones. They want to make sure to listen to the men who ain't quite men. But go ahead.
By focusing on black men. So, for every 100 men, 13% of those men are black. So you have 13...
No, dummy. They say that black Americans make up 13% of the United States. It's not 13% of all males. The entire black population is not all males, dummy. Hey, how slow can you get? And she went right along with it. You're supposed to chop 13% in half. And even then, you got to look at age disparities. Because you would not include boys between, let's say, age 13 and under for a husband or a date. Slow. That's who y'all listen to. So you've discredited yourself before I even listened to this fool. You've already discredited yourself. But go ahead and finish.
Your love life be just by focusing on black men. So for every 100 men, 13% of those men are black. So you have 13 men out of 100. Now, 80% of those guys are not going to be ready for a relationship. That's a
80% won't be ready for a relationship. How'd you find that out? Twinkle toes. How'd you discover that? He just making stuff up just like her. I guess that's the Keisha thing to do. Just make stuff up, right? Just pull stuff out of thin air. Yeah, that's what their overlord does. That's what their demonic overlord does. The guy who created them, the chief demon, makes stuff up, pulls stuff out of thin air. So it's fitting that his disciples do the exact same thing, especially when they want to attack black men.
going to be ready for a relationship. That's across the board. Any color of guy, they're just not going to be ready if they're single. Yeah, so we go from 13 to 3. Now, if we take into account unemployment, underemployment, gay, and
What?
in prison, you are
Gay? You see how slow this is? As if all black women are heterosexual. Dude, the gay black men will be offset by the gay black women. How about that? There's no need to even worry about the gay black men. And how would you know who's gay or not? And the gay population is not that large. What are you talking about? And what else did he say? This ain't nothing but white supremacist rhetoric anyways, by the way.
underemployment,
Underemployment? You say unemployment? What are you talking about? The unemployment rate difference between black males and females is not that big of a difference. Black women, it's like 8%. It's like a 1% difference. As far as being unemployed, it's like a 1% difference. What are you talking about? This is just a fool got up here, start babbling. Just, snatch together, put together a bunch of lies, talking points, propaganda, and regurgitate. That's all this is.
employment, underemployment,
This fool. Underemployment, unemployment. As if black men just run around here unemployed and black women soaking up all the jobs.
ready if they're single. Yeah, so we go from 13 to 3. Now, if we take into account unemployment, underemployment, gay, and in prison, you are
And
looking
ain't
at
that many black men in prison. What is you there? See? Nothing but this is nothing but white supremacist rhetoric. This has always been what they've co-signed. A bunch of white supremacist rhetoric.
2 out of every 100 men, 2 black men out of every 100 men that are going to be bare minimum available for a relationship.
So that's really interesting to hear broken down, that if you're looking for solely these needs to be met, you're looking at 1 in 50 odds on that, or 2 in 100, which I don't know how valid these stats are. So we're just going to assume that what is being said here is semi close to what the truth is. Now, you'll hear a lot of young women, especially in this modern day and age, say, I want to date a guy who is making 6 figures and he's 6 foot or taller.
He's tall and he's bilingual. I'm short and I can't speak English good.
He's got a graduate degree. If you account and add in those metrics for finding a black man in particular to date, you're looking at 1 out of 250 odds, which is just crazy to think that you would find somebody with those odds and be
See what they do? You see how brainless they are? Not a functional brain cell in her skull. This is actually kind of scary, if you ask me. That a person could just be given propaganda like that and they'll just run with it. You give them an inch of propaganda, they make a mile out of it. That's literally what she did.
Easy to think that you would find somebody with those odds and be.
Let's do the odds for y'all, huh? 80% of you overweight, obese. So there you go. Already, we as black men only dealing with 20% of you. Huh? You're wearing other women's hair. Now we're only dealing with 5%. You don't want to have this discussion. She's talking as if every single black woman is an angel. Picture perfect. They always talk like this. As if nothing is wrong with them. They never offer any self-criticism at all. Just listen to her.
Able to build a long-term relationship with them.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Now, if you take all of that out and say, you know what, I just want to date all men of all races and see what I find, your odds go to 1 in 7. I think maybe there are cultural.
Your odds increase when you broaden your horizons. They've always been about this swirl. They are the face of swirling, as we all know. It's because they've always admired other men and placed them above black men. Because they've always put those other men's women above themselves.
Issues within the black community that are pointing men in the direction of maybe having a lack of accountability, a lack of wanting commitments, and look.
A lack of accountability and a lack of wanting commitment. That is mind-blowing how they just throw out lies and they themselves don't feel any pressure to substantiate the things that they say. That's crazy to me. It's almost like you listen to a crazy person. You are. You don't feel no pressure to substantiate these statements. How are we not holding ourselves accountable? In what way do we lack accountability? What are you talking about?
Looking in the direction of maybe having a lack of accountability, a lack of wanting commitment.
What are you basing that on? Look, in these interviews that black women conducted, those black women did not say that they were dumped by their boyfriends. They were not saying that they were divorced by their husbands. They were saying that they dumped their boyfriends and that they divorced their husbands. So what are you talking about? The facts don't agree with you. They're not on your side. And again, this is what they do. Just brainless, short bus babble. That's all this is, short bus babble. You ain't even short bus. You ain't even smart enough to find a short bus. Lord.
Looking for these sort of ride or die girls who are going to stick by you while you struggle.
Notice ride or die. Stick. She's talking about street dudes. Both of them were talking about street dudes. Because that's what they deal with. That's what they're most comfortable with. But they're trying to paint these pookies as the face of black males. You're not going to do that. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, Keisha. That ain't going down at all.
Looking for these sort of ride or die girls who are going to stick by you while you struggle through life and don't make a commitment to them. I think
other women don't have no problem doing that. Getting with men when they're young. Let's say in high school, college. And they're together until they both build wealth. You see how black women look at that type of life as somehow less than or a negative thing? That's what couples do. No wonder y'all so single. And y'all have been talking like this for decades. That should tell you that y'all's whole frame of mind is behind why you're so single. Listen to her. She's talking like that's a bad thing. Yeah, black men in their early 20s, they're just getting started. Their careers are just getting started. We don't really build wealth and start eating until we're in our 30s. That's how it is. Y'all too slow. That's why you're not in tune with that. You're just so slow. Y'all are a product of the TV, not reality. You're looking at rap videos and you seeing young rich men. That's supposed to be my boyfriend. No, dummy. It's like kids. It's like you're dealing with kids. And you're smearing our image through the mud all the while. You're trying to protect y'all's image at the expense of our image. None of that. Better go back around the corner with that. Now, who want to argue that this is not a functional enemy to black men? Y'all gonna have to eat that. Y'all function like our enemies. That's what it is.
Life and don't make a commitment to them. I think there's something to be said for that. And maybe I only know that anecdotally through the black men that I have encountered who have wanted dates or are trying to build some sort of pseudo relationship where there's no commitment. I don't want to speak and say this is a hard and fast rule because of course there are plenty of very good black men out there who I'm sure are looking for relationships and long-term committed ones. But there is something to be said when you see the numbers broken down like this.
She's treating this random dude off YouTube like some type of scientist. This guy literally wrote this stuff down out of the top of his head. And he got his math wrong, like a big dummy. It is said that black Americans make up 13% of the population. But that does not mean for every 100 people that 13% of them are black men, you idiot. How could you make that mistake? Let's start there. Because you got to write this stuff down, then you make the video. I'm talking about this guy right here. You had plenty of time to realize that your math was very, very wrong. Why didn't you catch that? Because you're short bus. Just like the group you made this information for. A short bus twinkle toes. Oh, it hits different when you see all this data broken down like this. All this data broken down like this. Oh my, look at this. Shut up. Lord.
But there is something to be said when you see the numbers broken down like this. And even more so than that.
Wait a minute. Like I asked before, how did this idiot find out that 80% are not ready for a relationship? What are you talking about? In what way are they not? How would you know that? And Short Bus here accepted this as credible scientific data. Shut up. Oh my God. Oh my God. As black men, we have the most masculine women on earth. As women who try to perp as if they're masculine, they try to front like they're intellectuals, which makes them the most cringe group on earth. If y'all don't sit back, be quiet. Stop trying to think independently. If y'all want to sound, enlightened, You should do like some of these other black female content creators and regurgitate our talking points word for word. Venture out any delineation from that, you're going to sound like an idiot, like you sounding right now.
But there is something to be said when you see the numbers broken down like this. And even more so than that, I want to attack the idea that anybody should have to date within their race. You're gonna find people of all different races who are willing to meet your needs, who you're gonna be attracted to, who you wanna build a fruitful life with. And if you're constantly taking into account this factor of race, which is arbitrary, superficial, means absolutely nothing, you're gonna have a hard time. Irrespective of whether or not you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. We should be race neutral in our approach to dating because we want to live in a race neutral world where that stuff doesn't matter. Now,
yeah, and that has always been y'all's spirit. To just be a prideless group of women. Don't take no pride at all in what you are. And that's what drives you. Because the truth is, you look down on what you are. That's why you're always trying to minimize it. Other people pump it up. See, that's why you try to force yourself at their lunch tables. That's why you do sit-ins, trying to be accepted by them. You don't see yourselves as their equal. You see them as superior. And you see it as black people benefiting, making a come up when we copulate and pair with non-blacks. Y'all are so anti-black. It disgusts me. Y'all spit on the graves of people like Malcolm X, the Marcus Garveys, all of our black male leaders who shaped Black American history. Y'all spit on their memory with this type of anti-black, prideless rhetoric. And that's why y'all are not fit to speak for Black America, period. Y'all have no business speaking for Black Americans. You're not well. You're not well enough to be talking. That is so disgraceful, prideless. What's wrong with wanting to reproduce yourself like a normal? That's normal. Well, let's continue. It's a wrap for Black Americans anyway. Let's continue.
if you're a black man who solely wants to date black women and that's what you're looking for in the world right now, maybe you got some steps to take to meet their needs. Or if you're a black man...
You hear that? Okay. If you're a black man looking for a black woman, you need to step up your game. For who? A bunch of linebackers with wigs and horrible attitudes, hateful as all get up, who don't want to do nothing but fight? We got to step our game up for that. And plus on top of that, y'all poor as all get up, need help, lazy, don't want to work. We got to step our game up for that, huh? To take care of y'all bums. Get out of here. There's a shortage of black men who deal with black women properly. I got respect for Tariq, but there's too much Keisha worship coming from that part of YouTube. Too much Keisha worship coming from everywhere. Except AC. And it has nothing to do with AC personally. I don't care if it was Kermit the Frog saying the things that he said. He is most accurate. And I view his message as being closest in line with my message from years ago. And you seeing it being confirmed right now. Have y'all been reading the news? Have y'all been keeping up with things? It's being talked about more and more that black men are done with black women. Look around you. It's not theory anymore. Black men are delineating from black women in droves, more than they ever have. And it's all black women's fault. It's all this rhetoric you listening to right now. That's why.
And who is already doing that,
what'd she say?
steps to take to meet their needs. Or if you're a black man who is already doing that, then I guess you have the playing field right now, because your cohorts are not doing the exact same thing, and they're not meeting the needs of black women in particular. And
Listen to that. Listen to that. We're not meeting the needs of black women, their emotions. Get out of here. Y'all not meeting our emotional needs and demands. That's what's really going on. And y'all are not the prize. How about y'all get that straight? That's where a lot of the problems are coming from. They're walking around with their nose in the air, looking at themselves as the prize. If you were, you wouldn't be the face of homelessness and evictions right now. Section 8 and whatnot. The face of help, of I need help. Get out of here. Lord.
and they're not meeting the needs of black women in particular. And there seems to be a through line that these women are longing to find relationships, but they can't find men to meet their standards. So here we
What kind of standards a whale got? You a whole hippo with a wig, an orange wig on your head. Can't even construct a complete sentence. You loud, stinking, musty, evil, mean, confrontational. We supposed to meet their standards, huh? And like I said, a goofy, brainless video like this resonates with black women. These views, the supporters of this is black women. Now, I don't even follow this chick. But just looking at this video, you can tell the rest of her videos are the same. Just as brainless and unrealistic as all get up. This is really just a kid. She's a kid who hasn't even figured out how to think properly yet. She hasn't figured out how to construct her thoughts and observe reality properly yet. And really has no business being up in front of the camera talking to people. Sounding crazy.
seems to be a through line that these women are longing to find relationships, but they can't find men to meet their standards. So here we are. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this subject because, like I said, I did not expect...
You don't want to know my thoughts. Well, I guess you already did hear them. There you go, brothers. Y'all not... You need to step your game up. Precious awaits you. Sophia waiting. Come on, Hoppo. How many of y'all remember this mixer where 80 women allegedly showed up, but there was only like 10 dudes?
It was on the market. Just play the game. But
I remember that. Look at that. Look at that. We need to step our game up for this. They up here paying for hair. They buying hair in the store. A whole head full of hair. They buying it. They 300 pounds, 250, bigger than you, heavier than you. Push you out the way real easy, slap you around probably. Don't let her get on top. You busting out the seam of her clothes, it's stretching out all their clothes. You got to step your game up, huh? They walking down the street, thighs rubbing together till they get blisters. His stockings start getting holes in them. You need to step your game up though, huh? Every 30 minutes, she got a bucket of chicken wing and chicken nuggets, just stuffing her face non-stop. Time for a new wig. You know, them $1,200. Step your game up. Get out of here, man. We dealing with a sick group of women. A group of women who need help. Collectively, Black American women need mental help. Serious help. And if you ask me, also an exorcism. They have absorbed too many straight up evil thoughts, too much evil energy, anti-black and all. Really cannot make this up. Look at this. College shapes Black, white, and Latino women's work and family lives differently. Race plays an important role in how college affects women's marriage, fertility, and employment. Look at this. College is a key factor in Black women's work-life trajectories. Compared to white and Latino women, Black women are more likely to experience single motherhood and interruptions to steady, full-time work. However, college education narrows these disparities, increasing Black women's access to full-time work and stable partnerships. In contrast, white women are more likely to work part-time or be unemployed while having a college degree. And having a college degree increases the likelihood of them working part-time. See the difference? Because Black women are masculine. They view that degree as them being above Black men, as we all know. They always refer to, anytime, just, here's one right here. Why the marriage rate is falling faster for some. Another, I think, no, yeah, it's only a couple years old. Look at this. Back in the 70s, a little over 20% of Black women had never been married. Now it's like nearly 48%. Why do Black people get married less? Difficult for Black people around this data. Black people were denied. Look at this. Though enslaved people often had informal marriages. They're going all the way back to slavery. Their unions weren't legally recognized. Slave owners often separated families through sales and would choose partners for enslaved people at will. Listen to that. Listen to that. Though enslaved people often had informal marriages, there's a reason it's called jumping the broom. Their unions were not legally recognized. Slave owners often separated families through sales and would choose partners for enslaved people at will. This changed after slavery ended. Many families struggled to reunite. As late as the early 20th century, formerly enslaved people were putting out notices to find family members they had been separated from. If y'all ask me, That's why this is the early stages of black women not knowing how to maintain a marriage through practice, generationally. They went through life through the slave system, dealing with multiple men. Even some of those who were married, it wasn't formally recognized, and those women would still be with other men. So it's fair to say that during slavery, black women were not used to and did not know how to be a wife, to be a partner, to be a helpmate, to be cooperative, to be nice. In fact, that trained them to be antisocial. That lifestyle trained them to not care. It conditioned them to be heartless, because you couldn't afford to attach yourself to no man or anybody, because it's going to change in a heartbeat. Tomorrow you'll be with another man. See, and this is generation after generation. Women doing the same thing, not being wives. So you set a group of women like that free, guess what? They still going to continue to function like that. They're going to be dysfunctional, not going to know how to get along, not going to know how to submit to a man, not going to know how to allow those men to be leaders. They're going to try to effeminize those men just like they did on the plantation. And this is exactly the same thing that black men were saying in the 70s, y'all. That video is still available on my channel. Black men in the 70s were saying the same thing, that these women are trying to emasculate us and they refuse to allow us to lead. That behavior of theirs was going on all throughout slavery and between 1865 and the 1960s. Oh, yes. And I'm pointing that out not to take blame off of black women. I don't care that that lifestyle was forced onto them. Of course, you can't blame a victim, but you can blame the victim for not trying to get out of that mindset, for not putting forth no effort to get out of that way of life. Yeah, just like black men. And plenty of things were forced on us that we shook off. Barriers to partnership continued into the early 20th century until 1968. Welfare operated with man in the house policies. If a woman was partner, we know what that is. He had to get out. And see, black American women went along with this. They sucked all of this up. The welfare, the Section 8, and worst of all, the ideologies that promoted the welfare lifestyle. The feminist ideologies of being independent and strong, that came into play as a way to promote Section 8, promote welfare, promote, it's like was in place to encourage black women and persuade them to leave their family, their kid's father. It's a pretty sick game. And far too many of them co-signed it. Co-signed it. They became the new face of it. They started to push these ideologies better than the white women that gave it to them. Cola Booth. There wasn't no white woman out there nowhere as cutthroat as Cola Booth or any of these other black feminists. They picked it up and started to go harder than even the white women they gave to them, while those white women went right back to their white husbands. Cannot make this up. Facts about the U.S. black population. Black population United States 2023, estimated 48.3 million people self-identified as black. Yep. Making up 14.4% of the country's population. This marks a 33% increase since 2000. They're saying that the black population has increased in the United States by 33% since the year 2000, and they attribute it to foreign blacks. Foreign blacks. You see that right there? This is an increase from 2000, when 2.4 million people, or 7% among black population, were foreign born. So you see the agenda. The agenda is slow down the repopulation of black Americans, increase the population of non-FBA blacks, as well as increase the population of foreigners. Over time, you'll just wipe black Americans. You'll wipe them out. That's the game being put in place right now. And just like every other point in history, black men are the only ones who are willing to act on something like that. Black women have never really fought side by side with us against anything. They tried. They tried with the natural hair, turning against that sick, slaverish, racist element of black American culture. Is extremely racist. Self-degrading. It was the worst type of racism, because we were voluntarily mutilating ourselves, mutilating our image, trying to mimic the people who were abusing us. If you don't have it in you to at least break away from that, you need help. You need help. I don't care what nobody say. And if you one of these brothers out here promoting their sickness, hey, more power to you. But you ain't fooling me, not one bit. Shout out to everyone. I'm going to land my plane there. I'll see y'all on the next live.